So C is actually one of the first songs that I wrote. Steffi and I finally figured that it was back in 2011 that I was 9 years. It makes me feel kind of old. It actually came at a time of personal hardships for me and Steph. Don't actually remember all of the circumstances, but I think with any hardship, when you're going through it, it feels like the hardest thing in the world, and you feel like it's never going to end, or you feel like this is going to be the end of you. And so I think it's kind of what makes it continually relatable for us as we think about the song, that it's just every hardship, this is what we need, because everyone feels like it's overwhelming your entire life. So Isaiah 6 is really what it's based on. And I've always loved that chapter as you see Isaiah going through a crisis. It is the year that King Uzziah died, a king who reigned for 52 years and did a lot of good stuff. But so the year that he dies, it says, the chapter starts, I saw the Lord on a throne. So it's Isaiah getting a different perspective on reality. Who's the true king and ruler, and the one whose throne is never vacated? And I think that's really just what we need in life more than anything, is to see reality from a different perspective. And that's what so much of the Bible is about. It's about seeing reality differently, seeing reality the way the Lord does. I think of the book of Revelation and how it's really the book of the throne. I actually think that if all we get out of Revelation is a position on when end times things are going to happen, I think we've really missed the point. Not that it doesn't talk about things like that, but I think what we need to be seeing there is that there's this whole view on reality, the ultimate view of the Lord, the one who sits on the throne, and the one who holds the meaning and purpose of history in his hands. You know, the Lamb, right, who's able to open the scroll, right? And so that's what the song's about. It's about, you know, it's really that I need to see things differently. It's not that my circumstances need to change. I need to see differently. And God, through his word and through his story, invites us into that new reality. I've wanted to release C many times. Obviously, it's been 9 years since it was written. And from very early on, I always imagined the cover having something to do with my daughter Katie's eyes. She's actually, her grandma Chris used to call her bright eyes, and she just had always smiled with her eyes, always had that light. And so we've always wanted to do something that would have her eyes in it to really communicate that idea of seeing, right, and seeing a brighter reality. A good friend of ours, Ryan Carter, you should check his stuff out, Ryan Carter Images. He put together the cover. He edited that image that we shot, and just made it look stunning. And we're just really happy with how that turned out. And it just really seems to communicate what it is we want to communicate with the cover. So I remember the song not taking too long to write, and Steffi and I we perform it different places. But then I showed it to a good friend of mine, Mike Payne, and I always like showing stuff to Mike, and he will kind of give me ideas for even improving songs. Two things I remember Mike saying, and one was just talking about like kind of needing a bridge. And then the other was in the chorus where it just seemed monotonous. So actually Mike's contribution is where it goes sing, praise, rejoice, which actually to me is like the key moment in the chorus. We just had it going, sing, praise, rejoice. So it would go, lift to him your voice, sing, praise, rejoice. So it's just kind of the same thing. And Mike was the one that brought in the sing, praise, rejoice. So that was really cool. It really like makes the song explode in the chorus a lot more. Mike also challenged me to write a bridge. To me now the bridge just kind of like fills out the whole song, and it really speaks of the hope of seeing, right? So you have the throne, all about the throne, and then the bridge just kind of explodes and expounds on the hope of what it is we're actually waiting for, and it's his coming, the one who will come in power and come to reign and come in victory. So when we finally got to recording, see, I've had like several demos of ways I wanted to do this song, and actually most of them included piano. And the piano is actually doing the part that you hear in the beginning, where it goes da-da-dum, 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 da. But I am a pianist, and I guess I feel like I put piano into every single song. So it was kind of like this thing where we kind of wanted a new challenge, and actually my niece Lizzie was helping with a lot of this process, and we were just thinking, okay, how can we do something just totally different than what we've been doing? And the idea just became, let's do as much with voices as we possibly can. And so everything you hear up until verse 2 is only voices, and, well, there's some clicking, right, with their finger snaps. And then even for the rest of the song, it's mostly driven. Even the sounds that sound kind of like pads or something on a keyboard, those are actually voices. And amazingly, we actually ended up with more tracks for this song than I think for any song we've done. And it's mostly voices. There's like 2 guitar tracks, there's a bass track, a drum kit, and some toms, but everything else is voices. And that also includes a lot of different people that were able to contribute both to the background vocals and then this really cool group vocal that kind of turns into this big choir. That's probably the most exciting thing to me about the kind of recording of the songs, that we got to include some African students here in Ternopil, some other people from our church. So we actually have people from, I don't know how many, 5 or 6 different countries, 3 different continents, participating in the recording of the song, which I think is so fitting when you think of the words, right? Where all creation lift to him your voice. You know, we're talking about the nations, talking about all of the nations being together on this, in this praise. So yeah, I could never have imagined that we'd be able to do something like this, where like the actual recording communicates the very vision of the song.
He'll come in victory.